Hello, ladies and gents! It seems like the premium tank generator device is in overdrive over at the Wargaming HQ, as we have now another new tier 8 premium machine at our disposal, although it has to be said that this one is a lot more novel than the T-25 Pilot. This is of course the STRV S1 premium Swedish tank destroyer, giving you the option to have a machine with that funky new suspension system without having to sit through the grind on the regular tech tree. Just as last time, while I've driven the machine on a test account a couple of times, I included in this video a high damage replay from whatreplays.com, as I feel it can showcase the machine's pros and cons better. If you want to jump ahead right away to the action, the usual timestamp awaits in the description below. Otherwise, let's jump right into a quick comparison with the regular tier 8 Swedish tank destroyer, the UDES-3. Looking at the gun while in siege mode, we can see that they both have the same very punchy 390 alpha damage and a super comfortable 288mm of average penetration. In terms of DPM, rate of fire, and the generally lightning fast aim time, the S1 has a tiny bit of advantage over the UDES. The UDES on the other hand has a distinctively better accuracy. Now that's not to say that the 0.29 meters dispersion on the S1 would be bad for a sniper, but a difference of 0.05 meters is quite significant. Both of them will fire APCR as standard, but in terms of shell velocity, the S1 wins hands down, requiring almost no lead on most of the targets it will encounter. Moving over to the mobility while in travel mode, the S1 falls behind significantly by all factors. Most importantly, the top speed is 20 km/h lower, and the power-to-weight ratio is also less with a whopping 10 horsepower per ton. As the terrain resistances are slightly worse overall as well, this tank destroyer is then significantly less mobile than its regular counterpart, although you still couldn't really call it slow. It will, however, definitely take more time to get in and out of situations, and it will just simply struggle uphill, as you will also see a little bit later during the gameplay. Now in terms of protection, you have the same 1000 hit points that really won't last long once you get spotted. The armor profile itself is significantly better though, even if that extra 10mm of armor plating doesn't seem like a lot. It's all tied together with the overmatch mechanics, as that 30mm of well-angled armor will now be able to bounce 90mm guns as well, while the same guns would simply overmatch the UDES every single time. To put this into perspective for you, you will bounce Patriots reliably in the S1, but they will damage you every single time when you are driving the UDES. Something to look out for is also that the sides of the machine count as spaced armor, so when you are shooting these things, aim at the center of the machine to make sure that you will hit the soft bits. And last but not least, you have the same rubbish 350 meters view range paired with an amazing camo rating, further reinforcing the role of this machine, a very competent sniper shredding up its opponents at range. So that was a very quick comparison with the UDES, and there are definitely some pros and cons with the machine. Question is it worth buying it? I'm pretty sure that this will be an exciting prospect for a lot of people out there, as now they can try out the siege mode playstyle without having to go down the Swedish line and also grind some juicy credits on the side. It's also a great crew trainer for those invested in the high-tier Swedish tank destroyers. It has the exact same crew layout and it plays the same as well. For everybody else though, I think it will be mostly down to your playstyle really. Does the stealthy sniper role in a non-turreted tank destroyer sound good to you? Well, here is a machine that's really capable in this role, and it even has a cool new mechanic to it. Otherwise though, if you like to be more up close and personal or remain active throughout the game, you can probably skip this one. A fair warning though, if you are thinking about picking it up, most guns you will encounter will be able to overmatch you and send you home in a couple of shots, so you better make sure that you will remain undetected. Soviet heavies in particular can 2 or 3 shot you with a guaranteed overmatch, but of course with 288mm of pen you can also shred them up to return the favor. Right, that's probably enough with the statistics for now. Time to see what the new kid on the block can do under life conditions. Alright, so here we are in our STRV S1, this time around in a standard battle on Windstorm. Now this brand new premium Swedish tank destroyer just hit the shops a couple of days ago, but since it's a new novel premium tank, there are actually 3 of them in this match, 2 on our side and 1 on the enemy team. It will be actually quite interesting to see by the end of the battle how all these new tank destroyers will perform, but we have to wait a little bit for that. Now as we just go and assume one of the typical tank destroyer camping positions at the back of the map in this match, let's just have a look how quickly we can go. So as we did see, we were up to the top speed of 50 km per hour relatively quickly going here on flat ground. However, as soon as we hit the slopes, our speed just falls back dramatically down to 10 km per hour. And that's all thanks to the rather lackluster power to weight ratio that this thing has. So you can definitely see this thing is definitely not a UDES, and on hilly terrain you will take your time to get in and out of position. So, until we wait for some targets to pop up, as unfortunately it seems we have to wait for the enemy to come to us, as our team simply refused to move any further than 15 meters from the cap on this side of the map. Let's see how our armor will work in a one-on-one engagement against all the enemy tanks that we might encounter. So as we did discuss, with 30mm of very well angled armor we will be able to bounce guns up to 90mm of caliber. Hold on, what's that? It's a KV-2 committing suicide by driving sideways on in front of the enemy team's gun line that you can really expect to be present on this side of the map. So that's a gun out that could have potentially one-shot us. Not bad. By the way, did you see the shot that we put into the KV-2? Very well placed, and with 1450 meters per second shell velocity, this is almost like a hit-scan weapon at close to mid-ranges. And you have to give very minimal lead even at long-range sniping. But let me get back to having a look at the guns that we can encounter. So let's see what we can actually bounce. We can bounce what's still in the match. Well, we could have bounced the IKB-90B, but he's out. D3485, the 2 Cromwells, Cromwell B, no problem. E25 as well. And a T-8 Heavy, the E26E5 Patriot that has a 90mm gun as well. So those guys we can actually bounce head-on. Everything else will guaranteed overmatch our armor though, so that's definitely something we have to watch out for. And also those crazy derp guns like KV-2 and the OHO, they can very well one-shot us if we are not careful, as can the artillery. As with everything lightly armored, HE will absolutely tear us up. I have to say, for the next couple of minutes we will actually only camp here and wait for something to happen while taking quite a few blind shots, which I don't think will hit actually. So let's just keep forward until the action really starts going. Alright, so we decided to leave our previous camping position and go for a rather cheeky and cheesy position right here in the corner of the map. That's, by the way, how you can get up here, and it's a really handy sniping position. Now what's that? Finally some action. Cromwell there out in the open. And there you see how easy it is to hit targets even at a range with this gun. Shell velocity, absolutely amazing. Just point at the target, click, and they are dead. And with 288mm of average penetration on the standard APCR rounds, you really won't have a problem going through most of the things you will encounter. But that was only a Cromwell. Let's wait until you can see what we can do to all those heavies. Now I have to say, pulling back here was a good decision. Basically, with that flank almost completely open apart from that Cromwell, if the enemy Cromwells E25 decide to push this flank, and have a look at this, what a lovely shot into the Su-100, 376 HP, gone in a matter of seconds. That's how quickly you can tear apart lower tier tanks. And there is the E25 as well. Lovely shot there. Yeah, this thing is a beast when in a strong position. But getting back to relocating, it was a really good decision. We don't have the best of view ranges, and if we get spot we can get into a really nasty situation. So always make sure to keep your distance. But I have been talking about shooting at heavy tanks before, and have a look at how quickly we can decimate those guys. Couple of shots into the IS-3s, one of them already down, no problem at all. But how about the OHO and the KV-4? Well, let's wait until they appear. By the way, the typical setup for this machine, I think for most people, will be a gunrunner, camo net and binoculars to pump up that view range to a more reasonable level. And oh, there we go, KV-4, a really heavily armored machine, IS-3 as well, and an OHO, plenty of targets to shoot. So let's grind them down one by one. OHO as a top tier machine has really strong frontal armor. But the STRV S1 will be one of the few machines that won't have to tap that 2 key to be able to go through it frontally. You can just point and shoot and take them down one by one. By the way, I didn't mention, but naturally this is an extremely good matchmaking for this machine. Being top tier at tier 8 with 288mm of penetration, that's pretty much godlike. So KV-4 in a cheeky position, but that will not save him. If we can shoot him, he will go down. As will the OHO, and with that, we actually managed to turn this around, taking out 5 of the enemies in very quick succession, and those were the most dangerous guns on the enemy team. So now it's down to a KV-4, an enemy STRV S1, and a rather dangerous S51 artillery. Now that guy can one-shot us if he lands an AP or HE shell on us, so let's be careful, let's make sure that doesn't happen. Camping in the back is unfortunately what you will have to do in this machine a lot. Your mobility will allow you to get in and out of positions, but you will have to keep your distance, so a lot of time it will be down to your team to spot targets for you, which means, unfortunately, quite a bit of downtime in a lot of matches. Cromwell decides to go for it. However, that's a rather dangerous choice, and he bumps into the STRV S1. Now, that's actually a really interesting encounter, but the Cromwell makes a mistake. He starts to reverse behind the corner, and that allows the STRV S1 to quickly engage siege mode and take out the tier 6 medium tank, who actually could have given the S1 a lot of trouble. This thing really struggles in close quarters engagements. The traverse speed of the machine is actually not bad at all while in travel mode. However, the gun is fixed, so you can't actually point it up or down without engaging siege mode, which will take 2 seconds. So fighting on anything in completely flat terrain will be a little bit problematic. So most of the time what you will have to do, you will have to jump on the enemy, engage siege mode, and then shred them up. However, with only a 6 rounds per minute rate of fire, that will take some time, so with a highly mobile medium tank like the Cromwell, that guy could just easily circle strafe us and never even take a shot from us. Alright, let's just speed it up again a little bit, because right now it's tank destroyer facing off against a tank destroyer. And when 2 STRV S1s try to engage each other at range, well, it's not exactly the most exciting thing to watch. Now there we go, binoculars did the job, and see how close the STRV S1 did actually manage to come before we spotted him. The camo rating on these things is pretty damn good. He made a mistake, however, and with a little bit of fire, we are able to take him out in 2 easy shots. So, we outcamped the enemy STRV S1. We are already on 6 kills, Top Gun secured. Let's now win the game as well. So there was a KV4 who should be a one-shot. Now this could be a tricky encounter, and we will have to take a shot from him probably. As soon as we find him, we will have to engage siege mode. Make sure that we don't dunk the shell into the tracks or something. KV4s, man, they are one of the most trollish heavy tanks that you can encounter. Alright, well, we fired quite a few blind shots in this match. We are down to 13 APCR shells, 8 HE shells. Yeah, I'm not so sure. Probably I would take a little bit less, but definitely take a couple with you. Against all those Bore 6 Scorpion Gs, and oh, look at that, KV4 is still in the same spot. Come on, 2-second change. He actually dunks it into the tracks. Let's repair it, because the S51 will definitely take a punt at us. Oh, this is not artillery safe, and will he fire? There we go. Luckily it misses and only splashes the track, so we get away from that situation without a single hit point lost. Alright, so now it's time to hound down the artillery and claim that Radley Walters as well. Have a look again, we are on hard terrain. We are going slightly uphill, so we can't really go past 30 km per hour. This is not a quick tank, it's not slow, it's alright, I guess. Question is, where will the artillery hide? Unfortunately, we can't really get there in time, so he might be able to reload, even with his very slow reload. So this could still get tight in the end. If he manages to hit us, that's pretty much GG, despite all this carrying and camping. Alright, is he up on the ridge, or is he behind the houses? Now there he is. We should have the shot, quickly engage siege mode, make sure he can't pull back in time, and a single shot will be enough to take the game down and sail home. A rather juicy victory for the S1. So, this was then our ace tanker game in the S1, presented to us by the cheekily named Wargaming Trolls Me Everyday. Sure, there was a lot of camping involved in this match, but that's pretty much what the nature of this thing is. Not to say it would not have been effective though, over 6000 damage and 8 kills stand testament to that. An ace tanker it is then, together with a Radley Walters, high caliber, and of course a Top Gun. Looking at the team results, it's perhaps interesting to see how the other S1s have been performing, and, well, they did have alright to mediocre games, but nothing special. The S1 is absolutely awesome as long as you can keep your targets at a distance, but if that's not the case, you will start to struggle really quickly. And last but not least, we fired 31 rounds in this match, only hitting 19 and penetrating all but one of them. This, by the way, has nothing to do with the accuracy of the gun. Our hero just simply decided to fire a ton of blind shots, which you can actually afford to do thanks to the 50 rounds you carry in total. Alright, this was then a really quick review on the brand new Swedish premium tank destroyer, the STRV S1. I hope you found this little video helpful or at least entertaining, and if you did, thanks a lot for considering giving this a like or sharing it. As for the next videos, tomorrow we are going to close the week with another dose of high explosive RNG, and then over the weekend I have some really cool games for you, featuring an epic carry in a T29 on Saturday and one in the legendary mouse on Sunday. Thank you very much for watching everyone, and I look forward to seeing you again in one of the next videos.